Tennessee picks up a commitment, and it is Samara Spencer. What do you think of the class that is being assembled right now with the Lady Vols basketball team, and in particular, Samara Spencer, Caleb?
Well, Kim Caldwell is answering a lot of questions that John Adams and myself had about if her offense would if her style would translate to this level. Which obviously, for those who don't remember, led to the very short response Caldwell gave Adams that everybody thought was so viral. Now, the question was always, Kim Caldwell ran with her tallest player at Marshall last year was 5'9", and she ran this up-tempo style, transition, press, shoot the three if you get up the court before the other team gets up the court defensively, and that's how she had so much success. The question was always, can she really do that at this level with her tallest player being 5'9", or is she going to have to get more size? And Tennessee had size. They didn't have size in terms of players fast enough to run the system. That's why Caroline Strickland transferred out. Well, she answered that by adding two transfers. First, Alyssa Latham being one of them. She added a couple of 6'3", 6'4" transfers to add more size to the program, which was necessary. But the problem was neither of those players could shoot the three. So she went and added Samara Spencer from Arkansas, which is finally a guard, which would make you assume she's a better three-point shooter. And in 2021-22, she was SEC Freshman of the Year, shooting 34.4% from three. Dave, here's the problem. She's gotten worse from three ever since then. She was 32.3% from three 2 years ago, and then this past year, she fell to an abysmal 26% from three.
That's not good.
That's not good at all.
Mm-mm.
So the question is, which Samara Spencer is Tennessee going to get this year? Are they going to get the freshman? Because then they actually may have just enough to run the system that Kim Caldwell wants, which you need size, athleticism, and three-point shooting. But if she's poor at shooting the ball again, Tennessee doesn't have enough options for athletes who can shoot. And then they're in trouble. So I don't know. I guess I say all that to get to this point. We don't yet know if Kim Caldwell has the roster she needs to run what she wants to run and have the success immediately next year, which Danny White said he wants to have. Because we don't know how Samara Spencer is going to work out because she's so unpredictable.
Okay, the whole conversation, you referenced it, between John Adams asking Coach Caldwell about, can your system run at this level? I think a lot of people jumped on John because they didn't like John, and they said, oh, she got you, she burned you. But I thought what John was asking was really about depth. So if you're going to play that position, you can't just have 5 or 6 players. That being said, if she's going to run transition and she's going to get up and down the court and they need to play 8, 9, 10 players, could you see a pothole in the road in her progression? Could Tennessee actually take a step back under year one with Caldwell, despite the fact that she was hired to be the salvation of the program?
With this personnel, I could. And I debated John Adams a month ago because he was saying that he doesn't see this roster. Because Danny White said he hired a coach looking for immediate success. John Adams said he doesn't see how this roster will have it. I said I have faith that she'll bring in players from the portal. She's brought in players from the portal. She's addressed the size and athleticism. She hasn't addressed the three-point shooting at all. So how are they going to be able to, Tess Darby, Sarah Puckett, Jewel Spear, they can all shoot that are still on the team. They're all reliable shooters. Jewel Spear is the only one who's actually athletic, though. So maybe Kim Caldwell's smart enough to have, one of her 6'4" players who's really athletic, couple of athletic guards running the break, and then you'll have that one three-point shooter that can't really run the court with everybody else, but that's not athletic, but can hang with everybody else when they're running the court. For instance, a great example is Chris Lofton. Now, none of these players are Chris Lofton. Let me be very clear on that. But what I mean is...
right.
You remember
because they're female, partly.
Well, yes, exactly. But relative to shooting ability, okay, Chris Lofton was Caitlin Clark in terms of shooting ability.
Pretty accurate.
So what I mean with Chris Lofton, though, was Bruce Pearl wanted to run the break. Chris Lofton wasn't that athletic, though. But running the break is what created so many chances for Chris Lofton to shoot so many open looks from three and get red hot. And so maybe that's what Tess Darby or Sarah Puckett will be able to do in this system. But right now, I knew they needed more size, they needed more speed, and they needed more three-point shooting. They've gotten size and speed. They haven't added three-point shooting. So the question is, will this system allow for Samara Spencer to be a better three-point shooter along with the other players on the team who have shown an ability to shoot the three, but haven't shown an ability to be elite from three?
Okay, let's take a look at the overall class, see what they have and what you think they need. Quality Tire Pro, the Eberle family has been serving Chattanooga and the community since 1957. All major brands of tires, full service automotive, brake alignments, oil changes, and more. QualityTirePros.com. QualityTirePros.com. Stop in there and tell everybody, hey, Off the Hook Sports sent me. Hey, how's everybody doing? Hi, Bo. How are you? That is Quality Tire Pro, downtown Cherokee, Chattanooga, QualityTirePros.com. So what do you make of this class to this point in year number one?
Right now, I hate to do this. I'm not, guys.
Give us a rundown for those that don't know. Who do they have so far?
All right, so the transfers they've added are Alyssa Latham, Lazaria Spearman, the two 6'3", 6'4" athletic players on the post, and then now Samara Spencer, a 5'7" athletic guard. They have coming back Jewel Spear, who is 5'10". They're going to have Sarah Puckett, who is 6'2", and they're going to have Tess Darby, who is 6'1". That is good size and good shooting with those players. Then they have Kaya Wynn, Destiny Wells, Julian Hollingshead. So they can run, I would say, maybe 8 or 9 deep right now. I am going to be what every political sports analyst does when they're scared to give a take on something they don't know. I'm going to say this roster has potential. Dave, I hate saying that. I hate saying that because it's the most oversaid thing in all of sports, isn't it? Like, oh, this team has potential. Well, everything has potential, right? Every player has potential. That's like not culture. Real analysis when someone says it.
It was like us overusing culture last year. I want to ask you with the Lady Vols the ladies that they're approaching, do the Lady Vols still have that pull? Because it's been how many years since Pat Summitt was the head coach?
It's been 12 now.
I remind you how quickly this fades for young people who are just turning 17 and 18. So she last coached for the Lady Vols when they were like 5 and 6. So do you think that's still there, the Lady Vol pool when they recruit, or is that faded into the past? Portions of the program brought to you by the Hemp House, the premier hemp dispensary online with a wide variety, great selection, and strict standards to ensure you only receive the best in CBD or Delta products. Go to hemphousechat2ts.com, hemphousechat2ts.com, or use the promo code HOOKED. That's HOOKED for 10% off. What do you think, Caleb? When the Lady Vols call, is that a phone call you're certain to pick up and take, or are you thinking, ooh, it's Mulkey or South Carolina or probably not Gino as much anymore, but do the Lady Vols still have that when they call, you're answering?
You may answer, but it won't go further than that. It's like when Notre Dame calls in football. Does a Notre Dame call mean that much anymore in football? Does put it this way, I think Nico, or was it Brew McCoy or Nico? One of them went to Modern Day High School in LA, which is like the most prominent high school in California. I remember Dan Orlowski, who I do like, was having a debate on.
Dog sold Cameron Diaz pot for the record. But anyway,
oh, nice.
No, that's Polytech. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm a fan of Modern Day High School. I mean, I'm a fan of Dan Orlowski, but he tried to say at one point, he said that because there was a debate over if Notre Dame or LSU is a better job, and he said the lore of Notre Dame, go out to Modern Day High School, which is a prominent school in California. LSU calls, Notre Dame calls, you're picking up the phone for Notre Dame. I'm like, I don't think Nico Iamaleava picked up the phone for Notre Dame. I don't think he cared that Notre Dame called, quite honestly. But
there is an entire philosophical change of how you run an athletic department and being an independent as opposed to being a part of a conference. And in this case, you're talking about the Lady Vols are still on the level playing field. There's no huge difference. You're talking about the Lady Vols have. Now, we can talk facilities in women's basketball recruiting, right? Because we've decided we're not talking facilities in football because it just not a factor in recruiting. It's not anymore. They all have something good enough or as good. But
Butch Jones said that Tennessee's Juice Bar would help them out recruit Alabama.
Okay, yeah. But it's still but it's still a big one in basketball, right? I mean, the Pratt Pavilion that you get to use 50% of the time and all of that. I mean, the Lady Vols should still get you in the door. The Lady Vols facility should get you even further in the door. So that's why if Caldwell can't recruit at Tennessee within the next 2 or 3 years, I don't think it's going to take long to see if she'll have success. You look at those recruiting classes and you'll know pretty quick if she's going to have success at Tennessee or not.
Absolutely. And it's funny you say that because many women's basketball programs, Dave, as you know this, they play in like a school gym field house relative to not the actual stadium on campus. You know what I mean? So you're easily able to recruit against that.
For you that went to Tennessee or those that went to Tennessee, think Alumni Hall. That's the type of workout facility that most of the women have in college sports. They do not have equal opportunity. I know they're supposed to because of Title IX, but it just doesn't happen. And do you think that the men practice when they want to or when it's convenient for the women at Tennessee? They practice when they feel like practicing.